Hi, and welcome to Sherwood Inspection Services. We're talking about the seller's disclosure form and the preparation in selling your home. Now, over the last 30 years as I've done home inspections, and today we have a team of home inspectors that also collects information and brings it back, and we've noticed certain things that occur during the home inspection process. Now, I think we can help you in preparing your home and going through the disclosure form. In most states, realtors cannot work with you on giving you the information and how to fill this form out. So because of legal reasons, you really don't have too many people that can sit down and go through it with you. So I'm here to do that and to help you with this form. We're going to take it a step at a time. So let's first start with the heating system, and I've got a full list of the disclosure form. Now, let me say before we get started with the heating system, I want to express to you that this is not all-inclusive, that each state and each form that you may fill out, whether it's for the state or for a realtor group, can be different. So I've got a standard form that many people go by, and we're going to use that as a base to work from. And my hope is this information will assist you in filling out your disclosure form step by step and putting a package together for the prospective buyers of your home. So let's make it simple, get right into the heating system and start from there. Now, every home has got a heating or cooling system, oftentimes called the mechanical systems of the home. Your heating system, if you have one, is either going to be fueled by electric, propane, gas, or some form of wood-burning component. What you want to make sure is that you've identified when the last time it was serviced. You can do a service tag on the unit itself, or right on the disclosure form, you can put in the date that it was serviced last. The next thing is any indications that you've had changes, alterations, or repairs to it, you want to put this down. Now this brings to mention that this disclosure form is not just for this point in time. This disclosure form is really to take the information that you know about the home and the different components in the home from the time that you have owned the home to present. So anything of recent memory should really go into this form. Now, you don't have to go beyond the age of the component itself, such as this heating system or cooling system. So let's start with anything over the last few years, say within 5 years of the age of the system. Then you're going to start going into this system with maintenance, repairs, and upgrades that you've made to that system. So on an air conditioning system, you've got two components. You've got the outside chilling unit, and you've got the inside air handling unit. You want to make sure that you're covering both of those within the disclosure form. The next is for your heating system. Now your heating system is going to cover both the unit that distributes the heat as well as the unit that creates the heat. Now sometimes they're one, such as a boiler or a furnace, but sometimes they're two, such as a hydronic system, where you have a boiler that feeds water through a coil and through an air handling unit. And so both of those should be serviced on an annual basis. And that service tag and that service information you want to put right with the disclosure form. If there's been any leaks, if there's been any deficiencies that you've corrected, you want to make sure you put that history on the disclosure form. Here's why. Oftentimes what happens is during the inspection process, we can see signs that something's occurred. Not always do we have a full picture of what did occur, but it waves a red flag to the buyer. And so this buyer says, okay, what is the homeowner not telling me? and what are they trying to hide. We're trying to get away from that, and we're trying to move you into the direction of disclosing and providing information so it removes fear from the buyer's mind. So we've covered those two areas. Let's move on to the next on the list, and that's going to be your hot water heating system. Whatever is providing your hot water, you want to make sure that you get the date of manufacture, the date of last service, and any changes that you've made to that. Also make sure that these are accessible to the inspector when he arrives on site. Very important that he has as much access as possible to all of these components. Okay, next is run a standard check for your water heater, meaning run water for about 5 minutes. If the house has been vacant, it's going to be real important that you know that that water heater is working properly. So run it and make sure it sustains temperature for approximately 5 minutes. And that's the best way to just do a standard basic test to the water heating system. All right, next we're going to move into the electrical system. Now, in your home, you've got an electrical panel, usually a main panel someplace, and sometimes a sub-panel. You want those clearly marked and identified. If you have made any upgrades to your electrical system, put the receipts and the information with the disclosure form and identify it. Oftentimes the disclosure form will ask you, do you have any problems or have you had any problems? Again, go back through the history and identify any problems you may have had and what corrective action you've taken. So the next part, if you have a fire sprinkler system. Now some areas will have a fire sprinkler system within the home that needs to be tested annually. Make sure that's done. Make sure the smoke detectors have batteries and that the batteries have been replaced the way that they're intended to. And usually fresh batteries at the beginning of the sale of your home will be important. So that's a basic system there. Now we're going to get into the structural components of the home. Your foundation and your main frame structure is extremely important. These are areas that over time change. And we as home inspectors do not always have enough information by visually looking at it to be able to know the entire history. But we certainly can pick up if something has occurred to it. And this is where you want to be able to help facilitate this process. The way to do that is to simply identify if there's a crack in the foundation, if you have water stains in a crawl space or basement. You want to make sure that you've clearly identified what caused the water entry, such as a sprinkler irrigation system that was pointed towards the house for a short period of time, gutter grading system that wasn't very good in the beginning and now you've upgraded it, maybe even photographs that you have of before and after. Some cases of the foundation, you have to have it sealed on the interior or the exterior. If you've had a drainage system installed, make sure you've identified what type of drainage system, who installed it, and a receipt of that work that was done. All of this is very important because as the home inspector comes through the house, he can see signs that something has occurred, but does not have enough information to give you a full picture. And this is where the doubts come up in the buyer's mind. So we want to close that gap, and we want to be able to provide some good solid information to give a history for the home buyer.